Good afternoon. I have about 8 minutes. So what I'm going to share with you is some of the work we have done, because that provides the basis for the discussion. Also present to you the most difficult dilemma of what we are facing right now. And if you have to describe in one word, it's a very typical Urdu expression. Na miya razi hai, na biwi razi hai, kazi kya karega? This is exactly our fate of mind. I remember when I started the recruiting business 20 years ago, we were looking for one expression which defines our business. And that expression was, water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. This described our recruitment model when we started 20 years ago and still continues to be the defining expression of the business. In the course of the discussion, I'm going to talk to you based on our research and what our experience is, how the Mia and Bibi are looking at different directions, and why the Kazi is running around like a headless chicken in the middle, right? Briefly about us, 20 years old in the business. We have 8 offices, about 1,800 employees. We have 3 businesses of our own, recruiting business, content development, and third is the skill development space. There are a large number of candidate relationship, a large number of corporate relationship. In fact, 200 customers we work with at various points of time. In the recruiting business, we can say we're in the top 5. In content development, we'll be in the top 5 or 10. In terms of alliances, we're very, very international. We have got a good companies to work with. So when we came into the business, we thought everything was on the table. You have a good relationship, you have customers, you have a very strong understanding, so-called understanding of the candidate market. And I think that's the biggest mistake we did. All the assumptions that we made were totally different when I went into the research. And I'm going to present some of the research findings which we got recently based on our third-party research. E2E Academy, which got funded by NSDC in February, March last year. Our first customer we acquired 6 months ago. Our target, we are totally focused entirely on the graduate segment. We are not focused on the 7th class, 10th class pass out segment. So we are largely based on quote unquote brown collar skills, if you can use the word, fleet on street, customer service and so on. And in fact, we are the first to realize very quickly that you need to have multiple revenue models. You can't depend on one revenue model. So we have multiple revenue models now. One which starts with, if candidates are hireable as is varies, give them a minimum top-up skill to get them a job. People are not employable as is varies, identify what are they good at and train them on the areas which they want to do. So the variety of models that we have built still has taken us to a number of approximately 2,430 members we have been hired in the last 6 months. So let's look at the current scenario. The government is the biggest player in the skill development right now. I think he talked about today. It's defined by the government. From the individual standpoint and the corporate standpoint, all of us are spoilt. I would say everybody is spoilt by the government initiative because the government pays for everything. The government tells the training company, you source, you train, you show me the letter which is placed and I'll pay you back the money. Fantastic. Candidate doesn't have to pay any money. In fact, in some cases I know even candidates are being offered lunch to come for the program. Right? Some people offer people to stay. But then something is wrong. Everything is sweet and delia. Why is it not working? Something we have to apply our mind. In my mind, there are only 3 or 4 fundamental reasons we need to attack. The first reason is corporates are always cribbing that I have to retrain the guy at the end of all training that we do, which means our training models are very generic in nature. And this generic nature comes because you don't know who the employer is going to be. So you train in generically on a skill. Even if you get a certification, many people retrain them after certification. So I have a big question mark on generic training as the future. The more and more we get customized, more and more we get closer to the end user employer. Employers are giving us a very clear message, Mr. Murlidharan, we love you. It's not good enough. You want us to pay for any training, he must produce on day 1 the productivity which I want. If you're not producing day 1, don't ask us to be a philanthropist. CSR business, go to somebody else, don't come to me. I'm not in the CSR business. So the training not only has to be customized, it has to be productivity oriented. And in fact, it's a very fundamental departure we are discovering using a model called job instruction method, which we use, is to shift from skill-based development to task-based development training. So ultimately, if a person gets into a job, he does a sequence of jobs or sequence of tasks and activities. And the key expectation of the employer is, please do those tasks and subtasks at a level which you can sustain your salary. If you can't do that, All your certification, you can keep it at home, we are not interested. So we are moving very closely into this model to understand that how do we do a job analysis and customize the training program based on the job analysis or the job instruction method used by Toyota or US Army in the earlier period is a way of crunching the training time to a shorter period so that you make him proficient on the job. Then the obvious question is, how do you make it sustainable? How do you make him go forward in life? I think the second part of the work is going to be on-the-job training, which needs to come to bring him to a certification level, maybe 6 months, 9 months later, which he pays for partly on the job, and part of it which the company will pay. So that at the end of 2 years or 1.5 years, the guy has an exit plan, so the next batch of people can come in. See, we have to understand, we produce 33 million children every year. Approximately 2 million to 3 million graduates are coming out. If there is no exit plan for the people we train, the channel will get locked. There is no going to be space. The challenge in manufacturing is the same. There is no exit plan for them. The only way to get exit plan is to get a certification which is international in nature, and they must exit the system. So I said, "Na miya Raji, na biwi Raji, to kya karega Kazi." This is our defining expression. And let's look at some of the conditions which the students have. This study was done by us recently, completed about a month ago. We did in-depth interviews with 800 graduates who are unemployed. They come from first generation family who nobody is studied in the family. Incomes are very, very low. And the location we chose were Patna in Bihar, Madurai in Tamil Nadu, and Nagpur in Maharashtra. That's to sample 3 locations. The study was very, very revealing. One, everybody in that category looking for jobs. Even though they are working in jobs, they are attending interviews. What means there seems to be some kind of a feeling that I'm not in the right job. I don't have the socially acceptable job. The socially acceptable job in this country is to get an IT job. Right? If you go to a job fair, whether you are a BA, BSc, everybody hits the door to the IT companies. The second one, which is even more interesting, is that they want a company which keeps its promises, and more important, should have a good office infra, which is very surprising. I said, everybody, when I come into the office, I must have an air-conditioned office, a good secretary. I said, what do you know about it? They have no idea what an office is. But this is the reality. And the third one is even more shocker. We asked him in Patna, if I get you a job as a graduate, how much money do you want? The average median point salary expectation, 15,000 rupees for an unemployed graduate. We said, okay, if you get a job in Bombay, how much do you want? 35,000 rupees. These are all actual 800 average data, not a one-on-one data, what we are talking about. What is the reason?
Sorry, what graduate is it?
They are all BA, BScs, not engineers. The target segment is very clear, BA, BSc, BCom, unemployed, they passed out in the last 2 years, haven't found a job, they're sitting at home. Many of them are dependent on the families for their expenses, all this background. But the point is, their expectations are totally unrealistic. Where does it come from? Peer group, media. 2 people who define the aspirations of people in this country or the media. I'm not saying, I hope there are no media people here, but the fact is, every time you write about an IIM graduate salary of 1 crore, every time you write about a graduate of engineers getting so and so, we are getting beaten up on the backside. So here is the one side completely, and all of them still say, I want a government job. In fact, we are so shocked. Many people have gone to private jobs and keep looking for a government job. The whole idea is the only place where you get a salary and don't have to work. I think this is the best deal you can ask for in life. Right? You can do private jobs and you have a government job. So the expectations are completely unrealistic. Let's look at the employer, the Mia. He wants to pay minimum wages. I was involved in one of the discussions where a huge discussions are going on about the so-called top honchos of HRs in CII meeting. How do you pay less than minimum wages? I said, what's wrong with you? You've been paid so much of money to become a CHRO. You got a paid 75 lakh salary and your brain is working on how to pay less than minimum wages. And the guy can't live. Today the biggest reason why people exit the jobs, because they don't save money. You are in the business of saving money. If you're going to borrow from your father at the end of 3 weeks of work, or 1 month of work, you know, parent tell you, please come home. What the hell are you doing there? Second, they want a higher qualification. They want, in fact, two of the customers said they must have a motorcycle. The guy doesn't have money to eat. Right? Now we are negotiating with a motorcycle company how to get him a bike on day 1 so that he can do his job and the company is happy. So the specifications of them, vehicle, productivity on day 1 with minimum, and they should also stay for 6 months too. First condition they're asking me is, okay, what guarantee will you give him? I said, when you hire, what guarantee do you have? None. So why should I give guarantee? No, because we're paying you. So there is completely unrealistic expectation. Right? To give you some sample work, we have done some work for 4 customers now, which is in the gym model, what I talked about, job instruction method, which is task-based training. The duration of training, as you can see, 24 days, all are 8 days of intensive training, about 190 hours to so and so. But if you see the data here, most of the employers are paying money. We went to the employer with a proposition saying that cost neutral. How much are you going to spend money to source and train somebody? Pay me that money. The balance I'll take from the candidate, but you must pay him back that money as retention bonus when he completes 12 months. Why should I pay? Because I was giving an example to one of the guys. Imagine tomorrow morning, all the guys who are providing milk to us decide tomorrow morning and say, we will not supply milk. It is government job to get a cow, bring it up, deliver it to me free of cost, then I'll milk it and give you. This is the expectation of the employer. I said, it's not okay. First, you got to put money on the table. If you want me to train anybody for you, first put some money on the table. Second, we make the candidate pay some money. We don't believe the free candidate model is a workable model. He has to have stakes. 2 types of stakes we insist on, small percentage of money and his expenses he has to pay. So our intensive program is about 1 month or 15 days. We arrange accommodation, a student accommodation as a low cost where the training center is. We negotiate on his behalf, we expect him to pay. Despite that, we have done, as you can see, the number of people we have trained is about 250 in the last 4 months. All of them are pilots because what happens is the scalability. Okay, 1 minute left. I think you have the last slide. This is the last slide. Actually, there are the pillars on which all business model, in my mind, has to be built on 4 pillars. The first, what Hari talked about, education. We have to, NSDC, all of us have to get together to educate 2 sets of people. The individuals who are unrealistic, the employer who is unrealistic. We need to run CEO roundtables. We need to bring wherever I got the CEO involved, their appreciation of the problem was very different from somebody else being involved in the system. Because they are able to understand a talent pipeline model. They are able to understand the business productivity model. So first is education. The second is pre-assessment. I think Hari also mentioned it. In our company, we are coming back to the statement, if you don't pre-assess somebody, unless he makes an informed choice to be in that business and is suitable to do the job, please, for God's sake, don't train him. You're not doing any service. Because at the end of training, he goes to the job, he doesn't like the job, he's back to square one with a higher ego, higher expectation than before, and greater amount of guilt and hurt. You're not doing anybody fair. Pre-assessment, mandatory. Co-commitment, both the parties must commit. One party committing is not okay. The government has a role to play. The government can make the enabling system for all of us. For example, you can subsidize part of the money for the candidate. Most of the time, we are telling government, pay the first month when they come on the job. They have no money to live for 1 month until the salary comes. So give them some money to live the first month. They need money to pay for rentals. They need to pay money for their expenses. So the government should be setting up hostels, setting up enabling functions. But I think the time has come for us to talk to both the parties to put something on the table. And the last is, as I said, customized training. The more we get closer to the employer, the more we get to the task, the better is the chance. Thank you very much.